What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. We lost an iconic figure in sports yesterday as George Foreman passed away at the age of 76 years old. An iconic sports figure. George Foreman was a two-time heavyweight champion, basically had two careers. The first career, he was a menace, one of the most dominant heavyweight punchers during that era. He was a guy that had a PhD in the one-hitter quitter. Joe Frazier, coming off a career-defining victory over Muhammad Ali, took on George Foreman in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Was a huge favorite. At that time, Joe Frazier was looked upon as invincible, as he defeated Muhammad Ali in the fight of the century, featuring two undefeated champions facing off, and did record numbers in a fight that took place at Madison Square Garden. George Foreman was able to knock down Joe Frazier 6 times and stop him in round 3 to become the heavyweight champion of the world. He had, I believe, 2 defenses after that. Dominated a future heavyweight champion in Ken Norton. Stopped him, I think, quicker than he stopped Joe Frazier. And George Foreman was a bad man. He was out of that Sonny Liston style of presenting himself to the public, that style of fighting. He was a guy that was a big heavyweight at that time, man. He was real big menace during that era. Much bigger than the heavyweight divisions fighters of that era. And he was a guy that at that time, after he defeated Joe Frazier and Ken Norton, was looked upon as an invincible and unbeatable fighter. But in one of the most iconic fights in boxing history, the Rumble in Jungle, the Rumble in the Jungle that took place in Zaire, Africa, he was able to come up short and lose to the great Muhammad Ali in one of the greatest upsets in boxing history. After that, he had several fights, defeating Ron Lyle, and that fight, in my opinion, was the most exciting heavyweight fight in boxing history. It wasn't for no belts, but featured 2 of the hardest hitters in boxing at that time. Great fight. That presented him with a fight after that if he would have won that fight, he would have got the rematch with Muhammad Ali. He lost that fight. That fight took place in, I believe it was San Juan, Puerto Rico too, or maybe up in the Dominican Republic. In the dressing room, he found God, and he, at that point, became an ordained minister, left the sport of boxing, came back 10 years later, fought Evander Holyfield, put up a valiant effort, came up short, lost a decision to Evander Holyfield, who was the #1 heavyweight at that time. Continued to fight, took some wins, took some losses, but was able to secure a title opportunity versus then champion Michael Moore. Was a huge underdog, was losing every second, every minute of every round before he was able to hit Michael Moore with the 1-2 and was able to drop him and stop him to become 2-time heavyweight champion. And that fight there was one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. He was able to redeem himself after the tough loss in Zaire, Africa, to the great Muhammad Ali. Now, we have lost 3 iconic heavyweight fighters that fought each other in that era, that being Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and George Foreman. George Foreman became a successful businessman, sold those grills, made many millions of dollars off those grills. And if you were a college student back in the 90s and you didn't have a George Foreman grill, then you was out of pocket, you was out of line, you was you was somebody that was an outcast in that situation, because everybody and their mama that lived in a dorm room, you know, had a George Foreman grill, something that you could put some food in there and cook up real quick, and it would taste real delicious, like it came out the stove, like it came out the oven, man. That grill there was a grill that I used many, hundreds upon hundreds of times during my college career. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. Just a shout out to the great George Foreman. Basically had 2 professional careers. The first career, he wasn't well liked. The second career, he was well beloved. He was able to also work for HBO and be the lead analyst when HBO was in their heyday, working with Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. Called a lot of iconic fights. So he was a guy that had great charisma, and he was a guy that was a legendary fighter of his era. In my opinion, top 10 heavyweight of all time. R.I.P. to the great George Foreman. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Follow me on Instagram at JBSports3303. Follow me on TikTok at JBSports. New media. Follow me on Twitch at Briscoe Jai. 77071. Follow me on my YouTube channels at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 9656, and at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 8000. And like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.